Hi, this is Pastor Barry with the supplement video for the week of November the 18th, your third and final missional activity of the fall. I've said most of what I want to say about missional activities in the first two videos. If you want to go back and review those, kind of rethink what it is that you're doing and why, you're welcome to go back and do that. One thing that I did want to add here is I had promised in the last video on missional activity that I would post the handout from the October Invest that had to do with missional discipleship and being involved in the mission of God. I forgot about that, and so now I've corrected that mistake, and it is on the web. I encourage you to download it, to talk about it with your group. You don't all have to agree on it. It's a working document, so it is something that can be discussed. Where do we find resonance with this? Where do we feel some tension with some of what we see here? How would we say this? And I just encourage you to have a conversation around those things. I don't think we can ever do too much discussing of why we do the things that we do. And I think it is important for us to remember that we're not just trying to get people to do stuff, and we're not even just trying to get people to do good things, but we are trying to participate with God in His mission in the world. So we believe in a God who loves the world, who has given His life for the world, and is actually out in the world, present, and righting all of these wrongs, making whole everything that's broken. And that is the good news. The good news is that the kingship of God restores relationships, and it restores people to what they can be in God. And those who follow Him will be involved in that mission with Him. It's not an optional thing. It's why we schedule it in. We do it together because it allows us to support and encourage one another. And we do it regularly because we want to make sure that we're keeping both the words of God and the works of God as a priority in our lives. We want to proclaim those words, and we want to do those works of God. So one thing that I did want to add in this particular video is that if you haven't done so already, I think it's worth taking some time to evaluate your missional activities. You can do that at the end of this third one, or you can do it sort of after the third one. But I think it's worth talking about what has happened, kind of reviewing what's happened and what's been gained. Some questions that you could ask yourself. One, what has gone well? These are the things that we want to remember so that we can do them the next time. Another question that you might ask is, what would we like to do differently? There may be some things that it was okay that we did them, but we don't want to do that again. We would want to do it differently. There may be some things that we did that didn't go very well at all, and that's okay. Making a mistake is not a bad thing. Just don't keep making the same mistake over and over again. Learn from your mistakes. What would you want to do differently as a group, and how can you plan for that? I think a third thing that's important to talk about is, how have we experienced the presence and the power of Jesus as we've engaged in His mission? I think this is critical, again, because we're not just out trying to do good things. We are going into the places where God is already at work and joining Him there. And the expectation when we do that is that God is going to meet us and He's going to work through us. So how have we seen that happen? Do we have stories that we can tell and encourage one another with? That is pretty much everything I have for this week's video. I hope that you are enjoying the process, not just of learning information, but of putting it into action in a way that is transformational, both for yourself and for your little community and your discipleship group, and for the people that you're touching in the world. As I said previously, it is a lot easier for people to believe the good news that God cares about them that he is giving he has given his life for them and is still doing that, when they have something to see, a kind of in the flesh object lesson of that self-giving, sacrificial kind of love. So let's be that in the world with the help of God.